treat for y'all tonight. Let's have an open conversation about this, all right? Let me go ahead and run this intro, and we're going to be right. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Listen, it is time for another great program tonight. We're going to have an open conversation, living room conversation, because the chat needs to happen. Y'all know how we do here on the Juice Radio and Talk Show. We get the conversation going, but it's all because we want positivity and unity out here in these streets. Listen, today we've got a special guest coming on. Officer D is joining us today. He's on phone conversation with us because he is out taking care of some things. So he could not be on camera tonight, but we do have him on audio. And we're going to have this conversation. And I think it's a necessary conversation because there's so much going on today between police and other individuals, and there's separation happening. And I wanted to have the conversation from a police officer standpoint and get their viewpoint on this. All right. So tonight on the Juice Radio and Talk Show, we're coming to you live on a special episode where we're going to have the conversation about police lives matter as well. Now, those of you who know me know that I love happiness. I also understand we need to have some discipline, okay? And I want to have this tough conversation because a lot of people are not understanding and there's so much going on. So let's have a chit chat. I want to go ahead and introduce Officer D and give him the opportunity to tell me a little bit about himself and also tell us a little bit of what he does, his experience, so that you'll know we're getting some good information from someone with some experience, all right? So welcome to the Juice Radio and Talk Show, Officer D. Officer D, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you could be here this evening.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Appreciate the invite.
All right, great. Listen, tell us a little bit about yourself so that we can have the audience to have an introduction of who you are and just basically your experience. I know there's limited information that you can share with us. We are going to protect, your identity and all that as well. But give us a little bit about your background that you're able to share with us.
Awesome. I started my career, joined the U.S. Army right out of high school, 4 years in the Army, fought in Iraq, came home from there, and I started working in Department of Corrections in Georgia, working with the prison system. Then I worked at City of Atlanta Jail. I've worked at various police departments and sheriff's departments in the metro Atlanta area. I've done a little bit of everything from undercover narcotics, fight, special operations, as well as general patrol. So I've been involved in community policing for about 17 years now.
Wow. So you've got an extensive career with officer and enforcement. And with that, I'm sure there's been a lot that you have seen out here.
Absolutely. To say the least, I feel like I've seen it all, but we continue to be surprised sometimes, unfortunately.
We do. Listen, I also want to say hello to you who are in the chat. If you have a question or you have a comment you would like to put in the comment section, go ahead and do that because we're all super co-hosts here. I want to say hello to Erin. She's in the chat. Hey, Erin, thank you for being punctual and on time. She's saying hello to everyone. Let's keep the conversation going. If you have comments that you would like to share on screen, go ahead and put it in the comment section. Remember, we're nice over here on this channel and you get one shot to be real nice, okay? Maybe I shouldn't say shot when I'm talking with officers on the phone, We'll say one chance, okay? So make sure that you keep the conversations nice and polite, okay? We still want to be respectful to each and every one of us. And We all know that YouTube and all these other social media sites have guidelines, and we follow those guidelines. All right. Hey, Tammy, how you doing? So glad to see you here today, Tammy. Thank you for being here. Put your comments in the comment section and help us to get this conversation going. All right. So, Officer D, the reason why I wanted to have you on here is because you and I had a conversation a while back, and I was speaking to you from the point of what is really the police officer's fault in this, or what the community's fault. And when I say fault, I'm having the conversation of this argument between defunding the police and the police, saying that there's so much going on and ruckus about that. But I'm one who I really believe that the police officer voices are not really being heard as loud as they should with all this that's going on. What's your thoughts on the police officers' voices being silenced? They're not really silenced, but not being heard as much as they should. Is that a point that you feel as well, or do you have another scenario?
Thank you for that question. I actually agree with you. I definitely feel like, and anybody can witness this, and across any spectrum, there's a lot of political motivation, no matter what you believe in or who you vote for, whatever team you're on or your ideology that you follow. When it comes to media, for whatever reason, on any topic, both sides are not evenly heard, if that makes sense. And in reference to defund the police thing, that was a catchphrase that I always saw as a political ploy. It had no real credibility to it. Even after any type of horrible tragedy or police shooting or loss of life incident that occurred anywhere in the country, which they occur every day, by the way. And when you look at FBI statistics of officer-involved shooting, officer-involved deaths, public deaths at the hands of law enforcement, the statistics are pretty much the same for the last 20 years.
Wow.
But unfortunately, due to media sway and different propaganda pushes, it appears as if this thing is on an increase or some type of meteoric rise or some type of spike, and it's not. The only difference is they'll handpick a negative situation and they'll run it on TV 1,000 times a day for about 2 months straight. It's a hotter topic. They push it through social media, so it gets embedded into people's psyche and psychological fabric. So then when you follow up with that with any type of political agenda from either side, and I'm not really political, I'm kind of just, hey, I'm American.
Right. I get that.
I'm human. I'm American, and I try to start my baseline with people from there.
Right.
And people choose their own paths as we engage or whatever. But when it comes to defund the police, back to what I was saying, it's more of a marketing thing. Because if you really looked at what you truly want to defund the police, because I have these conversations all the time in the community.
Wow.
With all types of folks.
Right.
All walks of life. From millionaires to homeless. I have open conversations with people because I just engage with people. And people that are upset with the police after some type of incident, I always ask them, well, the police departments are hiring. We can use few good men and women. And I always reiterate this thing I heard Barack Obama say. You have to be the change that you want to see.
Come on now.
Instead of complaining so much about how you feel, and just for the audience, I know they can't see me, but I'm a black man.
Yes, you are.
And I'm from the hood, so to speak. I grew up in the project, used to be homeless. My parents used to be on drugs, used to sell drugs. I come from the thing that I had an issue with.
Wow.
I became a part of the solution, or I wanted to impact my community in a positive way, not continue the cycle of hurting my community. And when I have these conversations with people about them picking up the mantle or being the change they want to see, well, I hear a lot of crickets.
Wow.
So at the first part of the conversation, I get a lot of anger. I get a lot of feedback in a negative way. And, and just to be quite blunt, they'll say F the police, F12. That's the slang term they'll throw at us. And I said, that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and people are emotional.
Yeah.
So some days you have a good day and a bad day. And generally speaking, I understand the psychology of the police-public interaction. Most times, people's interaction with a police officer is at the worst moment of their life.
Okay.
When do you dial 911? You dial 911 when you've lost total control over your environment.
Wow.
When you no longer can control what's in front of you, in your household, the person, a stranger, whatever's going on, some situation has occurred where you cannot control it. You cannot positively affect it safely, and you don't have the confidence to do so, or the tactics or equipment. So you call somebody else to come in and do it.
Wow.
That's the service. That's the job.
Wow.
So you say, I'm a perfect stranger. You dial 911. It's my job that I get paid to do, and not very handsomely either, but that's not a complaint. It's more about honor and integrity than money.
Wow. Now you said something really key there that I think people who are screaming defund the police need to hear repeatedly. You said that we call the police when we can no longer control the situation that is happening.
I'll give you an example.
Yes.
The reason I have all this stuff locked and loaded, I have this conversation. I ask people, do you know your neighbor's name? Now I'm going to ask you, do you know your name?
Well, actually, yes, I do.
Okay.
I know the one on the right. I don't know the one on the left.
Okay, so you know the one on the right.
Yes.
We're going to use them. We got John Doe and Sally Q.
Right.
Their husband and wife.
Say that again.
I said, for whatever reason, we're going to use them as an example. The neighbors that you know. I don't know. John Doe gets intoxicated and she comes out of the house.
Oh, I think your audio is going in and out. Okay, you said John Doe gets intoxicated and comes out of the house.
Is that better?
Yes, that's better.
I said, so John Doe, hypothetically speaking, John Doe gets intoxicated and begins beating on his wife. She comes running out of the house. You know both of them. She comes running out of the house, screaming and bleeding, running down the street. He's chasing her. She's saying, he's going to kill me. He's trying to kill me. Again, you know them. You have a personal relationship with your neighbors. What would you do?
Oh, Lord. I have called the police.
You're going to call the police.
I
but
sure.
You know this woman. You know him. Why couldn't you handle that?
That's out of my plans.
Okay.
Out of my control.
So, out of your control, which is fair. That's a kind of, that's an egregious example, but we could agree and find statistics to back up that domestic violence occurs every single day.
Yes.
Some type of murder or vicious assault occurs every single day. Some type of rape, kidnapping, theft, burglary, they occur every single day. Drive-by shootings, drug dealing, just general chaos in the neighborhood.
Right.
Where normal working class people, they're like, hey, I just got off work, I'm tired, I'm not trying to die for my neighborhood.
No.
So I'm going to call 911 because I'm a taxpayer, because I hear that a lot. Even in an apartment complex, they'll tell us, well, I'll pay your salary.
Wow.
All right, that's fair. You called, we're here. How can I help you?
Right.
So every day I'm arriving at a stranger's house, and I have to quickly ascertain information in a snapshot. So we'll use the example I just gave you about your neighbors in a domestic violence situation. It's very, very active. I get on the scene. I haven't even made it to the house.
Right.
I just see a woman running down the street, bleeding. I see a man chasing her. She's screaming, he's trying to kill me. I don't know their names. I don't even know the background of how this started. For all I know, she could have stabbed him and he was trying to get retribution. Who knows? I have zero information.
Right.
At that moment, what can I do? I have to secure the scene. I have to stop any immediate threats.
That's right.
I don't have none of the information. I got to make a snapshot decision. Is this guy that's chasing her, is he armed? Does he have anything in his hand? You see what I'm saying? So there's all of these mental calculations that has to be done in a snapshot. Now, I don't know what your listeners do for a living, but I'm pretty sure they get more than 3 to 5 seconds to make a decision at work. Unfortunately, in this line of work, and I'm not justifying anybody's bad decision, any officer's bad decision, any citizen's bad decisions. I'm not justifying any of that.
I understand.
Because we all know right from wrong.
Yes.
And so, again, we only have a very short amount of time to make these snapshot decisions.
Right.
And the news or the media can take a snapshot of that incident, a picture, a video, and they can spin it any way they want to.
Yes.
They're production companies. That's why they have movie style cameras, and they go to editing rooms, they cut and paste. They do all these other things. They don't just put the truth out A to Z. No, they give you a snippet. They take a picture or a still, they put it on the website. They take a snippet of a video, they show you a 10-second clip. Hey, come back at 6 o'clock for the full story.
Wow.
They're trying to get production value.
And it's usually not even the full story.
And it's still not the full story because, again, as I told you, I'm from the urban neighborhoods. The urban neighborhood doesn't like talking to anybody. They don't like talking to the police or anybody that resembles the police. So they don't talk to reporters. So when a reporter comes onto a scene trying to get information about an incident that occurred, you might get your, so to speak, your neighborhood, what we call your ratchet neighbor to come out and say something crazy. But the people that have real information or can articulate themselves well, they never put that person on camera. They never go out their way to find out the person that can articulate the facts succinctly and effectively, so we know the truth. They want shock value.
So
just think about it.
So the news medias and stuff like there, and even some social media sites and stuff, bloggers, vloggers, and all that kind of thing. Sometimes they're putting the story out there in a purpose to make the police officers to look bad because they know it'll catch like wildfire.
It's shock value. It's shock value.
Right. But
it's
that.
Better. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But that in turns makes the officers' lives more endangered because they're not getting the full truth of the situations.
I can speak for a lot of officers that I know and myself. You generally feel like you're on an island. And we're in such a litigious society where everybody is too happy. They're ready to drop a lawsuit about anything, whether it's truthful or false. People, they throw a bowl of spaghetti against the wall to see if it sticks. It's easier to try to shame or discredit somebody for some money than to actually be a stand-up person and do the right thing. So as an officer, generally now, the temperament and morale, officers feel like they're on an island.
I could get that.
The public, the perps, and our administrations. Because you're subject to being fired or tried as a criminal. I'm not speaking of the officers that commit crimes. They should be.
Right.
And I can give you an example of one of the ones that was very, very active. we had George Floyd, right? That probably was the most famous incident here in recent history.
Okay.
George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and we had the gentleman here at the Wendy's in Atlanta, Georgia. I forgot his last name. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
But I remember seeing the George Floyd video. And I'm an officer. And I'm watching the video, and I'm looking at the public. It was about 10 people standing right there. And there was other officers right there. And so, one officer should have never been doing that. There's no defensive tactics class that ever trains you to do that, put your knee on somebody's neck.
Right.
I'm looking at the other officers first. Like, why didn't y'all get him off of him?
Wow.
Somebody should have snatched him off of him. He was already in handcuffs.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you still sitting there on top of him? Once you gain control and the handcuffs are secured, all fighting and physical contact stops unless they're fighting still. He wasn't still fighting. He was on the ground, face down.
Right.
The other thing, and I had this conversation with multiple chiefs of police.
Mm-hmm.
If there was ever a time for the general public to actually justifiably fight the police, that was it.
Wow.
Instead, we live in a society where everybody wants shock value, and they want to bring their camera phones out.
Wow.
We're so blinded by living in this false reality of the internet world and social media, we miss real life opportunities and real life interaction.
Wow.
Instead of helping people, I've seen people in car accidents, they pull out their phone and record somebody dying.
Wow. Yeah.
Because they want shock value on their social media page. They want likes.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of trying to help a person before EMS gets there or render aid, they'll videotape a person dying.
Mm.
They'll
Wow.
videotape somebody in pain asking for help.
Mm.
We lost our compassion for each other.
Yeah, for clicks and views.
And I see this on the daily.
Yeah, we do that for clicks and views. And I think Tammy had a comment here, and I think you just answered it, but I'll read her comment as well. She says, I'm a runner, and the police assist us in running races. I always thank the officers when we pass them. I understand what he is talking about, speaking of you. However, we have to acknowledge the issues that are happening are not about shock value. There are problems. So I get what she's saying. She said, some of it, what Officer D is saying, I believe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Officer D, what he's saying is some of these things are shock value, and some of it is because of the shock value, the resolve is not happening. Is that correct? Or is there another way you wanted to word that?
I mean, I can agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I try, as an officer.
Your volume went down a little bit.
Can you hear me better?
Yes, I can.
As an officer, and we're not formally trained on all this, but we wear many hats.
Yeah.
When I arrive to a residence, I have to be a police officer, a psychologist, a marriage counselor, a father, a brother, a priest. You got to you're wearing a lot of hats at one time.
Wow.
On any given situation.
Mm-hmm.
You spend so much time, I'm a counselor. And you're doing all of these things in one environment.
Mm.
And one variable shift changes the whole dynamic of that environment.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example, a regular domestic, meaning just boyfriend, girlfriend arguing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's been physical, just arguing.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a house one time, the girl found out her boyfriend was cheating, went through his phone.
Mm-hmm.
They're arguing, and we're there. She starts throwing stuff and breaking it.
Wow.
Well, guess who went to jail? The girlfriend.
Wow.
That's criminal trespass. You can't break items.
Wow.
You can't break people's property.
Wow.
While she violated, broke a law right in front of us and was going to go to jail, guess who became the real problem? The boyfriend.
Wow.
The same boyfriend that she was upset with and threatening, he was willing to defend her from us. And so he started his body language and started repositioning like he was looking for a weapon. Because we in his house. We don't know what he has.
Wow.
So like, hey, come here. He's trying to go to a back room. What's in the back room? We were up front talking.
Right.
And how quickly these situations evolve into something else. The general public does not understand the dynamic of time that we don't have.
Right.
The time that we don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's unfortunate because if more people were aware of what the job really entails and how difficult it is, I think it would defund the police wouldn't even have that much steam.
Wow.
From either side, Democrat, Republican, Independent, whoever you are. Because everybody deserves to and wants to be safe.
Yes.
And be free, be happy. Nobody wants to feel threatened in their home or in their neighborhood. Like your listener that's a runner. She doesn't want to feel threatened if she's out jogging, preparing for a race.
Absolutely.
It's 9:27. It's dark outside. But what if she just, on a whim, I feel like running 3 miles right now. I'm going to go get 3 miles in before I go to bed at night. It's 9:27. Now, she's a female. Look at the list that she has to go through for exercise. I guarantee safety is on that list.
Yes.
Is this a good time for me to go running by myself at night in the dark? I don't know where she lives. She has to take that into account. One of the number one crime areas is Buckhead, which is the wealthy neighborhood here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Isn't that something? The wealthy area.
So it is not relegated to your property address anymore, your zip code. It's everywhere.
Yes.
So everybody has security on their mind.
And the reason why we have so much wanting to be protected and feeling like we are insecure in certain areas and having our guards up is because of the high crime rates that are going on. Let's talk about that for a second, because I think the officers may be overworked because of the excessive amount of crime that's happening. And again, I can't understand, and I haven't understood this part of why people were screaming, defund the police, when it's a scary thought to me to think if we defund the police, what will happen to this world or even just these cities without the police? Because you said in the top of this that you guys are called in when we have lost control of a situation and can no longer handle that situation, which I think is a valid point. So if we don't have the officers to help us with these situations, it's just going to make the thing worse. So I didn't understand when I kept hearing defund the police. And I'm like, well, who's going to help us when we need help? I don't understand that. Now, I do understand that there are some people that said they feel as though, and you have mentioned this a little bit too during this conversation, that there are some officers that have done some wrong. And you have stated also you do not agree with the wrong that these officers have done.
Absolutely not.
Right.
I'm not one of those officers that sit back and allow anybody to do wrong in front of me. So he can have on a uniform. If he does something wrong, I'm yoking him up. I'm pulling his coattail. And I think there needs to be more of that. I think the general public would agree with that also. They feel like more good officers need to help fill in those gaps. Reference the crime rate issue that you brought up.
Yeah.
It's a complex issue that has multiple
layers,
angles or things that are feeding it. So you started with the defund the police. Right. So they pounded that into the general public psyche for about a year.
They did.
Defund the police, defund the police, defund the police. Marching, rioting, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, all across the country, burning police stations to the ground, which is called arson, which is against the law. It's a crime, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And this stuff went on for about a year. If you were a police officer, you have a family, you have a wife, 2 children, you literally put your life on the line every day that you leave the house. So when you hug your wife and you kiss your kids, you understand that every day that might be the last moment.
Oh,
but there is still something in you. Your wife is afraid.
Yeah.
She has a fear, but she also has a strength where she doesn't voice it every day, but she has a worry in the back of her mind.
Mm-hmm.
She knows there's a possibility. Same for military wives or spouses.
Mm-hmm.
We know it's a part of the game. It's a part of the job.
Right.
It's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still willing to go do this job.
Wow. That part.
I can't speak for everybody else, but as a matter of fact, Georgia is one of the lowest paying law enforcement states in the country.
Wow.
In the country.
And one of the highest crime rates.
One of the highest crime rates, one of the lowest paying.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about the crime rate, there's other factors.
Mm-hmm.
If the police officers, the good officers, are feeling like, man, everybody hates us, regular public doesn't even want to help us police the community and help out the community.
Mm-hmm.
We're on our own. We're getting more scrutiny from the department.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's afraid of a lawsuit or bad exposure with the media. So we're getting stressed out from that angle. Mm-hmm. We don't make a lot of money. That creates a stress. Inflation is real.
Yes.
We don't got $20 for eggs.
Oh, $20. Them $50 golden eggs. Oh my goodness.
Some golden eggs.
Woo, yes. So there's a lot y'all. Yeah, there's a lot y'all are putting up with. And
you look around and you say, why would I keep doing this? So a lot of guys, there's been a mass exodus of law enforcement officers. They just left.
Wow.
So now, almost every single department in America is short-staffed.
Wow.
Because again,
you're getting it from all angles. You're getting the negativity from all angles.
I can start a podcast and make more money than I do as an officer.
Wow. Wow.
I can do this from my basement and my flip-flops.
Ooh.
And make more money than I put my life on the line. So why would I keep dealing with the mental stress and physical stress and everything that comes along with the job, and you still don't even receive gratification from the general public? Nope, they still, and I'm not even talking about like the thugs and the criminals. General public don't like the police. Wow. And when you talk to them and you ask them, why don't you like the police? The number one reason is actually speeding tickets. It's not even police brutality or anything like that. Wow. It's speeding tickets.
Oh my goodness. No way. No way. Speeding ticket. Oh my goodness. I don't understand that. Tammy has another question here. Actually, she's giving a comment. She said that I am not trying to say the job is not dangerous by any means. She's not trying to say that. She said there are a lot of unknowns. My cousin's dad was an officer, but this same cousin has been pulled over multiple times and asked how he can afford his car. She's saying things like that. And yes, I do have to take safety in mind, not only at night, but during the day as well, for many reasons, because in the last few years, it has not been safe to run. So let's go up to this top of this question that she was saying basically is that this same cousin whose officer is a dad has been pulled over multiple times and asked how can he afford his car and things like that. What would you say about officers doing stuff like this, what we call racial profiling, because you're driving expensive cars, wearing expensive clothes and stuff like that? What's your comment on that as an officer?
Well, I would give an honest response and say racial profiling absolutely exists.
Yes.
And I'll even be honest and say I've done it before.
Wow.
and I can explain why. But reference her situation for her family member. It sounds like there's an unprofessional statement that's going on, and this is why I always encourage people. Have you ever heard anybody yell out, "You're violating my rights"?
Yes, I have.
And so I follow that up. I ask people, "What are your rights?" Have you ever read the Constitution? Do you know the Bill of Rights? Do you know your local laws and statutes? Like actually look them up and read it. Do you know what constitutes a crime or see traffic violations under anything not a vehicular homicide or something like that? They're just violations of city ordinances and stuff like that, traffic codes. So they're not the same. They're in a separate section from criminal codes. So even on a traffic stop, and I just why education is so important. If you don't know your rights, you don't have any. How can you tell me I'm violating something and you don't even know it was a violation?
Wow.
So I would encourage that cousin that keeps getting pulled over to familiarize himself with the department's policy and procedures and understand, look at the definitions of probable cause, ERS, articulable reasonable suspicion. Look up the traffic codes. This is just general information to know. To understand probable cause, I can give it to you in a nutshell. Is there enough information that the officer believes that a crime has been committed? Based on visual evidence, physical evidence, or testimonial evidence? Is there enough evidence that presented at that current moment that can constitute that a crime has occurred? Now, articulable reasonable suspicion is one step below probable cause, but it's working its way up there. It's meeting it's checking a couple of things off the list, but it doesn't meet all of them. But you know, the spidey sense goes off. The hairs on the back of your neck stand up. You know, something's awry.
Yes.
And so, when it comes to traffic stops, and I see. And then let me back it up. I'm going to give you a real life story that occurred some years ago. And it was involving a white officer, and we were working in Clayton County, Georgia.
Okay. Which
is a high crime area traditionally in the state of Georgia.
Okay.
Clayton, DeKalb, parts of Atlanta, highest crime statistics. And there was a traffic stop that I overheard on the radio. Officer execute, and he said occupied 4 times, 4 black males. That's what he put out on the radio. So I'm not even paying attention to the race. I'm looking at mathematics. 1 officer to 4 guys on a traffic stop is a dangerous situation.
Very.
Most officers get killed on traffic stops.
Wow.
So I'm headed over there to back him up. I don't know what charges he has. I don't know why he pulled him over. I'm only going to support primary function is officer safety.
Okay.
So I pull up. He already has the guys out the car. They're sitting on the curb. They're teenage boys, high school age. And he's got them detained in handcuffs. And I walk up. And the driver, he's got the driver standing up behind the trunk of the car. He's talking to him crazy. Now, normally when you pull up on an officer's scene, I don't have any of the first-hand information. So you kind of like let one person do all the talking. You don't just jump in and try to handle a scene you don't have any information to go off of. I let him talk for a minute, but he's talking very, very disrespectfully. He's talking crazy. And when he sees me, you've met me before. I'm not a small.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
So I don't know if he got a boost of confidence, thinking like, "Hey, if we had to fight, I got a big guy with me." So he started talking, and we've witnessed incidents like this, whether it was in high school or growing up. You know, somebody they be quiet as a church mouse when they by themselves, but they get their friends with them, they start talking big and bad.
I've seen it.
Well, this officer was doing that.
Wow.
Well, I pulled him to the side in front of the young men because, one, I felt like it was a racial thing.
Wow.
I absolutely felt like it was racial.
There
and I
you
wanted
go.
to let these young boys know this is not the normal. Y'all don't have to tolerate this.
There you go.
I'm not telling you to buck up. I'm telling you to educate yourself.
That's it.
I'm telling you to arm yourself with information.
That's it.
Nobody can violate your right.
That's
just because
it.
you're young, you're never too young to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And educate yourself. If you're driving a car, you need to know all the laws surrounding a vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
White, black, green, Asian, it don't matter who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know your right.
You need, and I love that you said you need.
Legal search and seizures. When can they search your vehicle?
Come on now.
You have the right to communicate with the officer also. They have this unwritten rule thing of pissing off the police. You know, the young lady that made the comment about her cousin. Mm-hmm. The guy saying, "How can you afford this vehicle?" Well, that's very inappropriate.
It is.
That's very unprofessional.
Mm-hmm.
It's not against the law, and it's not a direct violation of policy, but it's putting you in a direction for a whole negative interaction.
Yes, it's not good. All right, your mic, I think, has gone out. Let me see if he's there. Got my audio. All right, let me give him a call back. Hey, Curves, how you doing? Saw that you're in here. Let me give Officer D a call back. We had to do this on my audio because he is out right now, so he is out. But listen, hey, Curves, how are you doing? So glad that you're here. Hey, Officer D, I got you back.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. We've got Curves in here, and she's having some comments. She's just coming in. Curves, you may have missed the top part of this, but I am going to go ahead and be respectful and put on the screen your questions or your comments, and Officer D will respond or decide what he wants to do with these. So let's go ahead. Officer D is one of the good guys. Okay, I want you all to know he's one of the good guys. All right, I know him very well, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted him to come on the platform, because he's going to speak from both sides, from the officer side and from being a person who was, out there and know the streets himself before he became an officer. But Curves has this comment. She says the officers are the problem. Protect and serve, not kill and abuse. Now, Curve, we had this conversation at the top of this where Officer D was saying he does not agree with that. Did you want to make a remark on this statement, Officer D, that says she's saying the officers are the problem, protect and serve,
Sure.
Not kill and abuse?
Absolutely. I mean, I understand where her comment comes from. It's coming from an emotional response.
Okay.
Again, I'm big on numbers and statistics. As we talked about at the top of the show, mm-hmm. The statistics of officer-involved shootings, they go both ways. Officers killed and deadly interactions that were perpetrated by the officers. Mm-hmm. They're around the same numbers for the last 20 years.
Wow.
There's no fluctuation. There's no spike. Same numbers. So mm-hmm. in 2008, it was the same amount of officers getting killed. Mm-hmm. Where's the uproar when an officer gets killed? Are you cheering? Are you clapping hands? Because I always tell people, and I know she probably missed the top where I said.
Yes, she did. She's just coming in.
You got to be the change that you want to see.
Right.
If you have a problem with the police, go sign up. They're hiring. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You go be the good officer in your neighborhood. Go police your own neighborhood. I guarantee you, because I've asked this question so many times to people about their own street, not their whole neighborhood, just their mm-hmm. street. Mm-hmm. Can you go 5 doors down? Do you know them? Mm-hmm. Do you even speak to them? Mm-hmm. I mean, we're not talking about being a police officer for them. Mm-hmm. Are you even courteous to 5 doors down from where you live?
Right.
Are you willing to even say, hi, how was your day? To 5 doors down. We're talking about a general courtesy. Mm-hmm. Let alone, are you willing to put your life on the line? I don't know what your family dynamic is. Are you married with children? With 10 kids?
Right.
are you going to leave your house, go 5 doors down, and save your neighbor from some type of violent attack?
That part.
That you might die from. Are you willing to do that? So when people say the police are the problem, I get it. I just let them say it. Because it's not rooted in logic. It's not rooted in facts. It came from a media push on one incident. Because I guarantee you, none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect.
No.
Somebody could say something negative about me. I beat a guy up when I was 21. Oh man, he's a thug. He ain't no good. I beat a guy up in a bar when I was in the Army. But that's against the law. I didn't get arrested though. I'm being honest.
Yes, I get it.
I didn't get arrested because I ran.
Wow.
We got into a bar fight. I beat a dude up and I ran.
Wow.
Well, that would constitute me as a thug, right? Because it happens all the time. Well, nowadays, the young kids, they pick up a gun and they shoot each other. And I'll give you some other fun facts that are not so fun. In Clayton County, Georgia last year, we broke the murder rate.
Wow.
We broke our murder record.
Oh.
On the 15th of January, we already had 20 murders.
Wow.
Guess who's doing the killing?
Who's that?
The kids.
Wow.
Teenagers.
Wow.
We had a shootout at a high school with 14-year-olds that shot each other in front of the high school.
Wow.
I caught another murderer that had just freshly killed a 17-year-old as I pulled up and took his last breath. A neighbor on the other end of the street was following the guy that did it. He was running away. We caught him. He was 19.
Wow. Wow.
So what I say to those people that say that the police are the problem, come be the solution.
And I get that. And I get that too. And that was my thought also because I'm that type of person. If I see a problem and instead of just voicing it's a problem, what I would love for people to do is, like you said, find a solution to what we're calling a problem. I'm totally for that. And when you say, people, if they feel as though the officers that are here are not doing a good job, instead of just saying, let all the officers go, don't pay them, defund the police. Well, what do we do next? What's the solution after that? Because I've heard defund the police, but I haven't heard what are we going to do next when we defund the police. I haven't heard that part. So that's
a power vacuum that creates chaos.
Right.
It creates a void that cannot be filled. And that's what you're seeing now. So when you talk about the crime rate spikes,
right,
that is the direct correlation of the exodus of police officers that said, hey, this is not worth it.
Right.
I'm going to quit and go do something else. Instead of me putting my life on the line for people that don't even care about me, I'm going to go do something else that just benefits me and my family. And I'm going to let the neighborhood
do what it do. Let the neighborhood do what it do.
I'm going to go do something different. I'm going to protect me. I'm going to just be selfish and protect me and mine. I'm not going to care about the actual community. And the other thing that I found is the people that scream the loudest when it comes to the complaints, they do zero in the community. They do zero.
There we go.
When the last time you helped us some kids being a mentor in the neighborhood?
I gotta applaud you on that.
Clean up the neighborhood, or create some type of program, or bring some families together for some positive engagement. They do zero. So this is why I talk about emotional responses, and we see it very, very prevalent in the Black community. Black folks are emotional. We're not really cerebral. We don't like to think. We don't like to research. We don't like to read. And I say we because I'm in that community.
Yes, we are.
And I'm watching my people, and Rashad, the guy, I'm sorry, I know I just jumped off. The gentleman that was killed at the Wendy's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Rashad. And we look at that incident, right? After the George Floyd, George Floyd's incident was 1,000% wrong. Those police officers were 1,000% wrong.
Absolutely.
If I was there, I would have put my boot in his chest.
The officer.
And kicked him off of him.
The officer, yes, put your boot in the officer's chest. I didn't
At the
understand him standing
minimum,
around
I
either.
would have
Yes,
grabbed his collar and pulled him off.
right.
Hey, get up. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
At the minimum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to the Wendy's shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I was on Campbellton Road here in Atlanta by Greenbrier Mall.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a furniture store. And two gentlemen came in. And the guy, I'm talking about loud as can be, as soon as he walked through the door. And them old racist white cops that killed another black man.
Right.
We cut
Wow.
on the TV. It's on the news. You know what I do? I pull up the original video. I watched the 27 minutes of body camera footage. The entire incident. Now, I told you some of my background and things that I do.
Yeah.
I have done.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't I'm not like, I was never interested in doing like traffic. Like I never wrote a lot of speeding. I never wrote any speeding tickets.
Mm-hmm.
The only time I ever wrote a ticket was on an accident where you have to. Somebody's at fault.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't a traffic guy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do DUIs, stuff like that. Like it just wasn't interesting to me. I'm here for like real crime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the robbers, all that type of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm running and gunning. The people that's causing pain in the neighborhood, I want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And I watched this body camera footage, 27 minutes
Mm-hmm.
from this. I'm gonna call him an officer, but he happened to be white.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is passed out drunk in the drive-thru at the Wendy's, blocking up the whole line. The police come up, his window is down. He taps on the door, hey man, hey, wake up, you okay? You know where you at? He's incoherent, doesn't know where he is. The guy doesn't even want to deal with him. He said, hey man, pull up or just pull over the parking space
Mm-hmm.
and go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
As the guy pulls over to the parking space, runs over the curb. You know he's drunk. He's on body camera.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's held, he's liable. He has to interact with this guy. He's forced to by policy.
Mm.
Legal liability. Because if he lets this guy go and he crashes and kills somebody, guess who's going to catch a lawsuit?
Wow.
That officer in that department.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's an easy win.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can hear the guy get back in his truck and say, man, do I even want to deal with this?
Mm.
I heard him verbatim. He said, do I even want to deal with this? He gets on the radio because he wasn't proficient in DUI tactics.
Mm-hmm.
He asked for a DUI specialist.
Wow.
The DUI specialist came over there and responded with him. He just so happened to be white also.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you from who I am, I'm always going to be honest.
Yes, you do.
They gave that guy 15 more chances than I would have.
Wow.
Because guess when
go.
he would have went in the handcuffs without even knowing it.
Wow.
When he was still at the drive-thru, passed out. The second time, after I tried to wake him up and get him to move out the way. His door would have opened, handcuff would have been on, he'd have been arrested. He'd have been going to jail.
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these guys exercise so much patience in that situation. They just got multiple opportunities. Hey, can you have somebody come pick you up? Leave your car, blah, blah, blah. They gave us tons of opportunities.
But none of that was shown.
And as they kept engaging with him and talking with him, he was sobering up a little bit. He was getting more and more aware. Guess what he remembered? He remembered he had a probation violation. He had a warrant. So he had a whole lot of nervous energy, his body language.
Right.
See, people don't understand when it comes to fighting or shooting, death is in the hands.
Yeah.
You got to watch body language. It's not people's words.
Yeah, yeah.
It's body language. So the guy's body language, he had like a fight posture. And I was looking at the officer. I'm watching the video. I'm like, oh, y'all all wrong. He about to whoop y'all. You don't even see it. So imagine, and then they had bad tactics.
Right.
When it's time to take somebody to jail, you can't hesitate. You can't half-step. Because a natural instinct kicks in called fight or flight. You're either going to run or you're going to fight.
Right.
If you put somebody in a survival moment, this is just natural. Somebody that's never trained, they still have fight or flight inside of them. It's automatic.
Right.
So You know what they messed up at? They told the guy they were going to arrest him.
Oh.
They said, we're getting ready to take you to jail. You don't tell nobody you're about to take them to jail. You have to get them secured. Then we can communicate.
Right.
You have to make sure the scene is safe first. You have to make sure, you have to prevent the fight.
Wow.
And so then when they reached out to grab him, they were very hesitant and nonchalant.
Yeah.
They were timid. They were scared. Because most people, and some officers included, they ain't never really been in a knockdown, drag-out fight. The average person doesn't know what it feels like to taste your own blood.
Wow.
It creates a panic response.
Mm-hmm.
Your adrenaline gets to running. You get tunnel vision, auditory exclusion. It's all these. Your body's under a lot of stress, psychologically and physically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you're not trained to defeat those things, or you're not in shape, because physical fitness is a big key factor in it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not prepared to handle these things, who knows what your reaction is going to be?
Yeah.
Or how effective it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened in that situation? They got to tussling with the guy. Well, I looked at both of those officers like they got whooped. They didn't get control of him. He took his taser, took off running, and people say, oh, the taser was non-lethal. They didn't have to shoot him. I said, I tell you what, I've been tased 5 times. It doesn't kill you. Let me tase you. It only locks you up for like 5 seconds, locks your muscles up. Doesn't even hurt. It's just weird. Let me tase you so you can feel it. You know what the guy on Campbell Road told me?
What?
The gentleman on Campbell Road said, I know I can't cuss. He said, you're going to have to effing kill me if you tase me. I said, stop. Pause right there. What did you just say? Now, I pointed back to the TV at the incident in Wendy's. I said, me and you are just talking. We're in a friendly environment.
Right.
We're talking hypotheticals.
Right.
I was trying to give you deeper education. And you just told me, you just escalated our friendly conversation to, I'm going to have to kill you.
Oh, that's terrible.
If I tase you.
Wow. Wow.
That happened shortly after that incident.
Oh,
and so I encouraged those same gentlemen. I said, listen, go back and watch the whole body camera footage.
Wow.
Not the 30 seconds that Fox News put on or 11 Alive. Don't watch the 30 seconds. Watch the 27 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get the whole story. Get all the facts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you say that an officer shouldn't use deadly force and a taser doesn't justify deadly force, a taser incapacitates you.
Mm-hmm.
So if I tase somebody, they're incapacitated. You can have a gun in your hand and I tase you and you drop, I walk over and take the gun from you.
Right.
Now I shoot you with your own gun.
Oh, no.
Most officers die by their own weapons.
Wow. Wow.
They lose a fight and the perp takes the gun from them and kills them with their own weapon. I can show you more than a half dozen videos of officers dying by their own weapons, men and women.
Wow. We've got to get control. We've got to get control. Listen, this is a Juice Radio Talk Show. We're talking with Officer D. We've got some comments in here. I have not been avoiding them. I'm sorry. I've been just trying to listen in and let him finish his thoughts. Tammy had a comment. She said, I think she's talking about her cousin. He was taught a lot about that by his dad. He had to know that because of who he is. I think she's talking about the racial profiling. He was taught about that. His dad was an officer and taught him about that. I'm going to have Officer D back on again. We're going to do a repeat series, not a repeat, but a regular series on this because I want there to be change. I want to be a voice out here on social media to help make a change. We need to start, like he said, finding a solution to the problems. And I think if we can continue to have more conversations about what we can do to make justice and find out what each of our parts are in that, I believe we can come to a place where we can try to have a happy medium somewhere. It may not be happy all around, but we've got to be able to have these discussions. We can't just listen to one side and not listen to the other side. Even when you go to court, the judge is going to hear both sides. and then make a decision. So the reason why I wanted to have Officer D on my platform this evening, and the reason why I am going to have him back again, is because we need to start hearing both sides, both points of view. Now, I'm going to get, I think Curves had a comment here. She said, probable cause is a loophole to bypass my civil rights. Curves, if that's your thought, that's your thought. I'm not going to take that away from you. She also said police training upholds the abuse of Black bodies. Unfortunately, the patterns are there. Now, I'm going to let Officer D answer this just real quick while we have just a few more minutes. But I'm going to say this, Curves. I am not going to say that officers are the reason for our Black bodies. I'm going to say there have been some bad officers that did some bad things. But when I look at the numbers of the attacks and killings that are happening on here, of Black people being, their lives being taken, Curves, I'm going to have to say this. I have been upset because a lot of our Black lives that are being taken by Black people. And I'm saying that because a lot of these people were not officers. And when I did my numbers count on looking at Black lives that were taken, the larger majority of Black lives that were taken by Black people who were not officers. Now, I don't know if y'all want to agree with that, but that's my number count. If you can show me a census or a scenario where officers, Black or white, took the lives more than a Black on Black crime of a person who was not an officer, send it my way, because I would love to review it. I'm not knocking what you're saying, but I'm basically saying is I think that we put too much emphasis on an officer did a killing and not enough emphasis on this Black man just killed another Black man, or this Black girl just killed another Black girl, or this Black person killed another Black person. That's what I'm saying. We have to start looking at this thing as a whole and not just as a narrow tunnel vision that points in one direction. Black lives are being taken by who? Officers that did wrong? Yes, but also Black people who have done wrong. We got to hold our own people accountable as well. Just like we put the fire under officers' feet when they take our loved ones, we also have to put the fire under the feet of the people that are the same color like us, that look like us, that are of our same ethnicity. We have to start doing that as well. We can't just point the finger in one direction and everybody jump on the bandwagon to attack officers when we're not doing the same thing when somebody that looks like us take one of us. We just can't do that. And I get what you're saying, Curves, and I'm not taking anything away from you. That's not what I do. I come in love. But I do want to say this. We got to be fair across the board, y'all. We really have to be fair across the board. Yes, like Officer D said, there are some terrible officers that did some terrible things, and they need to be held accountable for it. Officer D is in agreement with that. But we also have to understand this is not just a police thing. When I'm talking about is crime that's happening. We need to find a way to stop this on all angles. And if we go shout to the rooftops and march in the streets and paint things on the sidewalk and paint in the streets, when an officer does something that we know is wrong, then let's do the same marching, painting, and yelling and on the rooftops when one of our own takes our own. Why will we go silent when one of our own takes our own? That's not right. We need to have the same voice when it comes to that. A life was taken. Have a voice. That's all I'm saying. Officer D, if you wanted to have anything to say about that, she said police training upholds the abuse of Black bodies. Unfortunately, the patterns are there. What's your thoughts? And then we're going to get ready to bring this to a close.
Respectfully, it's the same. That's just an emotional response. It's not backed by any statistics or logic.
Yeah.
That's a person expressing their feelings.
Yes, and I get it, and she has that right. Yes, we don't.
Like you said, and I always had these debates with folks about Black Lives Matter, and I'll just keep it on the surface.
Yeah.
For another show.
Mm-hmm.
But if Black Lives Matter, why don't they matter all the time?
That's it.
And so I've never seen a Black Lives Matter rally in Chicago. I've never seen one in Clayton County. I've only seen them by certain places where certain cameras are positioned, certain media outlets, for a certain political agenda or purpose. And so the same tone or message I was putting out there, if you have an issue in your community, are you willing to bridge the gap and provide a solution for it? Because in Clayton County, all of the murders that occurred in 2023, none have been perpetuated by any law enforcement.
That's it.
And I think we got like 30 or 40 now. They were all done by people that look like the same people. There's no uproar.
Right.
That's a huge loss of life. We broke a murder record last year. Where was the rally at for peace?
Right.
Where are the outlets to help change the direction of these young folks? To give them more positive outlets. And again, I say this, I have to say it bluntly and directly. The people that scream the complaints the loudest do zero. They don't do nothing.
I have to applaud and agree with you.
How valid is your complaint when you're not willing to even do nothing to provide a solution?
And that's what we have to learn to
go door to door and engage with your neighborhood and put together some community events where it's nice and fun and enriching and educational and foster these new environments. Be the change you want to see.
There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'll say this, and I know you got to close.
Yeah.
But I do want to make everybody aware because, again, I see the police are not going to save you. Let me just go ahead and let's skip ahead where we at today in the world.
Yes.
The police are not going to save you. When we have a real crisis or a real emergency, and I'm speaking to the people in the metro Atlanta area, it's about 9 million people.
Yeah.
It's not that many police officers. So if you have a crisis and your neighbor on the other end of the street has a crisis and 4 streets over has a crisis and there's a tragedy 1 street over, there's not enough police officers to even cover those 4 sites.
It's not.
At the same time, tactically and safely. So the listener that's the runner, I encourage everybody, men and women, you need to learn basic self-defense. You need to learn situational awareness. The same way I said you need to educate yourself to your laws and your rights, you need to arm yourself with information, tools, and capabilities. Everybody needs to start working out, getting in shape, eating better, thinking better, just being better. As you know, I have a security company. I do executive protection. I do basic security. We do everything from, I have apartment complexes all the way up to senators in Congress right now.
Yeah.
Celebrities, rappers, singers. I've been with everybody. I've seen this thing on every single level. The biggest gap that I see right now and what's going on with the crime rates, people need to learn how to protect themselves.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with that. Yes.
I can send you over information, but we actually offer personal defense training, basic handgun, situational awareness training, survival training. The name of our company is OSS Tactical. So a few military guys, retired law enforcement. If you wanted to learn about the police, you could learn from the police. And if you want to know the tactics that might be used against you, you can learn them firsthand, how to use them for yourself to benefit you and your family. If somebody was to kick in your door and commit a home invasion in your house while you were sleeping in the bed, what would you do? If somebody tried to carjack you, what would you do? The young lady that's a runner, she's out running, and a van and 2 guys jump out. What do you do? What would you do? Are you going to call the police?
Well,
are you going to have the tools necessary to defend yourself?
There you go. So bottom line, if you want to defund the police, you need to be able to have a tool that's going to be used in place of replacing the police.
You got to have a solution.
Got to have a solution. I don't want to defund them. I want y'all around. I also want to take the classes and the courses. I'm going to be contacting you about joining, about getting some training from OSS Tactical. We have it up on the screen there. If you like to get some more information, I'm going to get some more information and put it in the description. I want to thank everybody for being here this evening. I'm sorry I didn't get to all of your comments. Tonight we're going to have Officer D back. We love Officer D. We love the good ones. Okay. We love also not only the good ones, but the honest one. He's going to be upfront and he's going to be honest about his approach. We want to do our part in this. Like he said, get knowledge, arm yourself with knowledge. But not only that, we need to arm ourselves with being able to protect ourselves as well. And before you get mad at every police officer that's out there, why don't you do this? Try to sit down and have a conversation with them, find out about them, because every officer is not the same officer. They're still human beings, you guys. They still have lives they want to live as well. They may not want to do the job, but they're there to try and do the best that they can at that job. Listen, there again are some bad ones out there, but there are also some good ones. So before we try and throw the good ones in with the bad, let's try and sit down and get some knowledge and understanding and learn the difference between a good officer and a bad officer, and know that every officer should not be just lumped in with the bad ones, you guys. I don't think it's time to defund the police. I think it's time for us to learn more about the ones that are doing what is good and supporting them, so that we can then help others to join the force and become great officers with wealth of knowledge and a wealth of training, so that we could change the police department that was doing wrong and make it all one good one as best we can, But the best way to do that is to start having the conversations from both sides. Okay. I want to thank everybody for joining me this evening. I want to thank Officer D for being here this evening. A wealth of information. I pray that you all had some knowledge here. Listen, and you know how we do on the Juice Radio and Talk Show. If you agree, we're fine. If you don't agree, we're still fine, because we still come in love, y'all. We still come in love. We don't lose friendships over conversations. That's not what we do here, okay? We just having a conversation, all right? I want to thank you again, Officer D, for being here. If you had any closing thoughts before we log off, just let me know. You have any closing thoughts you'd like to share?
Just to piggyback what you said, good community policing requires the community. So the police need your help to make the community better also. So it's everybody's job to participate in the community that they want to have. You need good police, you need good community also.
There you go. All right, now let's help these officers out, you guys. I want to thank everybody for being in the chat. Remember to click like and click share. And remember, it's a conversation. And that's what we're going to start doing, because conversations can help change situations. But a mouth closed won't do nothing to help the situation, all right? But come in peace, because if you want something, you got to be able to give it. All right. I love y'all for watching this evening. Thank you, everybody who was in the chats this evening. Appreciate y'all for being here as well. Listen, we're going to have Officer D back, so click that notification bell on our YouTube channel, the Juice Radio and Talk Show. Look for the red mug and the microphone. You know you'll have us. That's our logo on the screen. I want to thank our sponsors as well, Custom Apparel Shop, for all the work that they do to help our channel to grow, and the sponsorship that they have by giving us the supply, shirts and caps and all that with the embroidery and our logo. You can also get custom embroidery from them. Israel Mason is the owner, and he is waiting for your phone call to help you grow your business. Listen, y'all need some custom apparel. Israel Mason's going to help do that. Call him today at 786-657-7501. And Truth in Triumph Ministries. Truth in Triumph Ministries is our main sponsor. They're here to help us get the truth out. And we do it in love, y'all. And why? Because we want to tell you the truth so that you can triumph in life. Truth in Triumph Ministries is one of those church ministries that's doing things right out here, you guys. doing it all in love. Thank you, Truth and Triumph Ministries, for all the work that you do to help us sponsor this program. Listen, you guys, I am baffled with my words right now because I've just got a wealth of information. We're going to go ahead and log out for now. But again, remember, we're going to have Officer D back. He's going to share some more information because we're going to go into youth and how we can help our youth today and the anger and the temperament that they're having, y'all. Instead of them picking up a book and read, they want to pick up a weapon and take a life. We got to change this, you guys. So in order for us to do that, we're going to have some more conversations, all right? And the good things that officers are doing that you probably missed out on, you probably didn't hear about because you were too focused on the negative of the one or few officers that was doing wrong. But we're going to show y'all some of the good things that they're doing, you guys, and why we need to keep them in our life and in our system, all right? We're going to be back. Hit that notification bell. But for now, we're going to say goodbye until our next episode, all right? See y'all later.